In today's episode, what went wrong in Gilas versus Chinese Taipei? Pag-usapan natin yan. What's up everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando over to my left and Mr. Gablim and Mr. Mawiap over to my right. What's up guys? Not a good night for us, I would
Not a
say,
good
for the
night.
Philippines.
Masakit. Maalat. Um, Sakit sa ulo.
Masakit sa ulo. Yun din yung feeling ko right after watching that. But it was a close game, ha? It was a close game. Kahit na gano'n
It's a
pa tayo
close game.
inalat, it was actually pretty close. We could have won it. So, pag-usapan natin yan. So, sabi nga natin sa title, what went wrong? But before we go there, siguro a quick recap. Honestly, hindi ko napanood yung buong game. I saw bits and pieces of it. Maybe, Gab, you can run us through what happened in today's game.
Well, I'm just gonna put it simply. Let's start with some positives first. Uh, Justin Brownlee just tried to carry Gilas in this game. He was the offense. That's simple. No one from Gilas could create any sort of offense for his or herself. It was Justin Brown. He started in the first quarter. I think he scored or assisted in 17 out of the first 22 points in the first quarter for Gilas. And that was the story for the rest of the game. Justin Brownlee had, 39 points? I think he had 39.
Yep, 39.
Yeah, 39 points. He was creating as much as possible. And you saw, now we'll go to what went wrong. You saw the effects of having no Kai Soto. Justin Brownlee was the only shot creator for Gilas for majority of this game. No one else could create any sort of offense off the dribble, off the post. No one. It was just Justin Brownlee. There were times Dwight tried to. He was getting rejected at the rim. Si Scotty Thompson tried to. He was also not effective. Junmar tried to, but we'll go to him later. But I think we're seeing the signs of aging from Junmar Fajardo. He could not get anything in the post against Gilbeck. Gilbeck played terrific defense, especially in that second half when he wasn't in foul trouble anymore. And Justin Brownlee just did his best, and I want to give my flowers to Justin Brownlee because wow, wow, yun lang
GOAT.
masasabi ko.
GOAT import.
There's a reason why we got him as our naturalized player. Why Tim Cone loves him so much. Why a lot of Filipinos have fallen in love with the play of Justin Brownlee is because of this. He's an excellent shot maker, but he cannot do it all by himself. Um, Another positive thing here is I do want to give my flowers to Chinese Taipei, because if you watch Chinese Taipei here in Phil Sports Arena back in I think one of the earlier windows of the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, you would probably not recognize this team, and you would be right because all this team from the coaching staff down to every single one of their players is new from the last time they played
Tatlo lang
Gilas
ata
Pilipinas.
na player ang same.
Yep. And
Wow. Okay.
so completely revamp their lineup, their coaching staff, and maybe even revamp their entire national team basketball program. They went into this game with a very specific game plan. First, on defense, they were going to pressure the ball. I think that's very apparent with how they played throughout the first half and even bits and pieces of the second half. They were putting a lot of on-ball pressure on Gilas, not making any of the passes to the inside or to the wings easy. They pressured ball handlers and led to, I want to say, 21 turnovers. I think they had 20 plus turnovers. Gilas did. Let me just check that.
17.
17 turnovers. A lot of those were in the first half. Chris Newsom and CJ Perez turned the ball over a ton in when they were inserted in the second quarter and even in the first quarter. The faults of Gilas even during their wins, were finding its way into this game. Turnovers continue to haunt them. Aside from Scotty Thompson and maybe some of Dwight Ramos, no one could really break that pressure. From Chinese Taipei, it was pretty apparent. It was also apparent in the amount of fouls they committed. They committed a ton of fouls. They were playing some UP type physical defense. You know, for those who watch the UAAP, UP plays a similar type of defense. In your face, physical, a lot of holding, a lot of pushing. They dare the refs to make calls, and the refs made calls in this game in favor of Gilas. Chinese Taipei was extremely physical, led to 30 free throw attempts by Gilas, nearly exactly double the amount of free throws that were taken by Chinese Taipei. And on the offensive side of the ball, Chinese Taipei just made every conscious effort to include the Gilas big men into pick and roll. Pick and roll after pick and roll, just to no end. And even when the pick and roll was not working, they were getting to the basket. The Gilas guards could not keep up with the guards of Chinese Taipei. Lin and Lu, and their he's not naturalized, but their star player, si Gadiaga, they were beating every single Gilas perimeter player off the dribble over and over again when they were not hitting their threes. So you gotta give them credit. You gotta give credit to Chinese Taipei. They won this game. Gilas just maalat. For the past, this is now their third straight loss. If you look back to their games in Doha in the Invitational Cup, they lost their last two games to Lebanon and to Egypt, both blowouts. And I think a lot of the same problems continued to haunt Gilas in this game. Turnovers, the lack of a point guard. Even when Gilas was winning, tayong tatlo, palagi natin sinasabi, Gilas needs another point guard. Their other backup guards, CJ Perez, Chris Newsom, they're not point guards. Very apparent in this game how much they struggled with the pressure that was being applied to by Chinese Taipei. It was pretty apparent. I have no idea why we don't include another point guard in the lineup. I think we need one. I mean, Scotty played nearly the entire game just because the other guards could not.
Shout out to Scotty.
Shout out to Scotty, man. He played well, especially on defense. But the fact that he was the only playable point guard on this team shows a lot of problems with our lineups. We've been saying this for a long time. And outside shooting, we said this when they won against New Zealand. Every metric pointed to a Gilas win except for 3-point shooting. New Zealand just rained down a ton of threes, and that's why they were still in the game heading into the fourth quarter. This was the same here. Chinese Taipei attempted 43 3-point shots. Gilas attempted 21. Majority of those were Justin Brownlee. Majority of the
Madami pa si Brownlee today. Madami pa si Brownlee nun today.
Oo nga.
Exactly. And we said it when they faced New Zealand. We got a ton of flack for it, but they're not gonna win if the opposing team is gonna shoot a ton of threes. You might hit a good percentage of your threes, but if the other team hits the same percentage with more attempts, matatalo kayo sa math, di ba? They're gonna hit more shots worth more points. We also lost the points in the paint battle. That's kind of sad that we have the height advantage, but we still lost yung points in the paint. As I said, a lot of the blow-bys by the Chinese Taipei guards were contributory to that. But also, the defense by Gilbeck inside the paint, especially in that second half, has to be a factor. He was amazing in that second half. I think that was the reason why they got him as their naturalized player. He can protect the rim. That's something that they don't have. They have a ton of shooting, but they have no rim protection. So they got someone who can protect the rim. What else? As I said, the guards killed us, and this is sort of becoming a theme for Gilas ever since Coach Tim Cone took over, and the previous window here against New Zealand, guards kill us. Especially in the pick and roll, guards kill us. I do want to give some advice to the coaching staff. Maybe work on pick and roll coverage more or dribble handoff coverage because we are getting killed over and over again. There's a lot of miscommunication that happens when the opposing team is using the pick and roll, and it has led to a ton of exceptional performances by opposing guards. Just look at how much Lin and Lou did today. Diba? Ang daming open threes just by pick and roll. Yun lang. Pick and roll, open mid-range or open three. We cannot keep on doing drop coverage with Junmar and with AJ Edu. Actually, yung Tim Cone tried to do a different coverage. He tried to switch. The problem was they were killing AJ Edu on switches. So I don't know, man. Maybe try something different. Maybe try blitzing it. Maybe try showing the pick and roll. We can't just do drop all the time. We were doing drop coverage most of the time, and we're getting killed. And it has been a theme. These past 3 losses, it has been a theme. The guards kill us in pick and roll. Sammy, Maui.
For me, before we go to Maui, I think maganda yung sinabi mo. Shout out to Chinese Taipei for sort of making this a game, making this interesting. I think we were talking off air and napag-usapan siya dun sa coverage kanina na first win nila since 2013, I think. So it's been a while since nanalo sila, and this was a must win for them to have a chance to qualify. Not sure, Maui, qualified na ba sila or hindi pa ba sure yun?
I think may last chance qualifier sila because they won the game a while ago. I'm reading it right now. There's a final qualifying tournament for all the third placers in the 6 groups sa FIBA Asia. But
so it was a must win for them talaga, basically.
Yeah, basically it was a must win. Most of the things that we mentioned in previous windows, even when Gilas was winning, yung weakness natin was really prevalent today. And it's because we also don't have our biggest strength. Diba? We don't have Kai Soto. We don't have the twin towers that we used to use in the previous window. It's hard to win a game when you lose in the paint and in 3-point shooting. Diba? In modern basketball, analytics dictates that the team that shoots the best and the most efficient shots. So when you hit a high clip, a decent clip from 3-point line in a good clip in the paint, that team tends to win in games based on math. Diba? That's one of the reasons why the mid-range shot has died in the past. Has died in modern basketball. Diba? If you look at the points of Gilas...
Not for Gilas Pilipinas, Maui.
Meron tayong mga mid-range masters, Maui. Si Chris Newsome, mid-range master yun.
Yeah, actually, yung point ko is if you look at Gilas Pilipinas, we're actually scoring quite differently from how modern basketball is, diba? The teams like Chinese Taipei, teams like New Zealand, actually, if you look at yung teams na nakakalaban natin, even the teams that are not strong have deployed the same strategy mostly, diba? Shoot a lot of 3-pointers, try to get to the paint and score easy baskets, diba? I think that's modern basketball at its finest. The easiest explanation why teams tend to shoot a lot of 3-pointers right now. I think we got away in previous windows the same way that LeBron James has gotten away in the NBA, diba? If you don't shoot a lot of 3-pointers, you have to make a lot of points in the paint. Diba? That's it eh. That's how you become an efficient offensive lineup, diba? With this window, even the Doha tournament, we've really struggled to create outside of Justin Brownlee. I know si Scottie Thompson, si Dwight Ramos have tried to create baskets, but it hasn't really been that beautiful, diba? Kai Soto was really, I think, outside of Brownlee, probably the center point ng offense natin. Diba? Siya talaga yung hub eh. Offensive hub ng offense ng Philippines. That's where our cutters can do their jobs. I think it's also one of the main reasons why we've survived not having pure point guards who know how to create baskets and to assist on baskets, diba? And that's been prevalent, diba? Justin Brownlee had to score 39 points in this game and hit 8 3-pointers. I think this is probably one of the games that he had his career high in 3-point makes in FIBA. Diba? Brownlee usually averages, I'm not mistaken, I saw kanina sa game, Brownlee only averages 20 points a game, but he had to score 39 today, yet we still lost today, diba? It's gonna be an uphill climb for Team Pilipinas, I would say. I don't know how we do against a stronger team like New Zealand without Kai Soto, diba? Si AJ Edu was actually the only playable big, diba? As Gab mentioned, we played drop coverage, and when you play drop coverage and Junmar's that big, it's pretty hard to expect Junmar, who's had multiple foot injuries and who's closing in on father time, closing in on his 40th birthday, to be able to guard, diba? To be able to guard the fast point guards, the fast shooting guards when they get him on the pick and roll. I think that's been the case with Gilas. Before, when teams beat us through that drop coverage, Kai Soto was there to protect the paint, diba? But we don't have that luxury. We won't have that luxury for the next year or so, diba? So it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen. I'm expecting them to get other players involved, diba? Unfortunately, Kiambao and Tamayo have been underwhelming, diba, during the Doha games and this window so far.
Wow, he's a pain to watch right now. He's a pain to watch. Grabe. Nagkakalat siya every time pinapasok siya. Go ahead, Maui.
Tsaka ano no, it's actually weird kasi Carl Tamayo just had this breakout in the KBL the past month or so, diba? So I don't know, maybe expectations were too high. Si Kevin Tiambao didn't even play today, diba? Actually si Tim Cone gave us a preview na diba? I think a few weeks ago he mentioned that we're gonna be playing non-bearing games. Diba? Maybe I was expecting them to play more, yung young guns, try to get Tiambao and Tamayo into a rhythm, try to get them involved, because we'll need to find other ways to be able to make up losing Kai Soto. As good as AJ Edu is on the defensive end, AJ Edu does not create his own shot. AJ Edu does not have an outside shot, diba? AJ Edu is basically maybe an above average pick and roll target or maybe a drop pass target, but he can't create his own shot like Kai Soto. He can't create from the high post like Kai Soto, diba? It made it harder for our offense, the triangle offense, to work, diba? Kasi Brownlee had to do basically everything. He had to help bring down the ball, he had to shoot from the outside, he had to post up, he had to create. And that's it's actually amazing that he scored 39 points, because if you watch the game, siguro 50% of the time he was also doubled, diba? But unfortunately, because we don't have outside shooting, we don't have spacing, we were not able to take advantage, diba, of that. Chinese Taipei was able to easily counter when Brownlee passed off a double team. Kasi ganda lang nila interior defense nila. Diba? With I think yung naturalized player nila has the most blocks in this FIBA Asia window, this FIBA Asia qualifying tournament. If I'm not mistaken, si Coach Ronnie mentioned he has close to 20 blocks in 3 games, diba? So props to Chinese Taipei. I think they really, ang ganda ng pinili nilang naturalized player. Very fit with their lineup, and them getting Gadyaga as a local player is really big. I am hoping that we get some of our Phil-Amps also available via the same route that Chinese Taipei did. Maybe it would take longer since Gadyaga has grew up and stayed in Taipei longer, but hopefully it's for the best also.
So Maui, na-mention mo yung maybe adding more players or looking for expanding the pool. We've talked about this in previous episodes. So if you were Coach Tim Cone, sino yung mga nasa top of your list na eligible naman, realistic? We know si RJ Abarrientos already practiced with the team, diba? As a practice player. Is he Somebody that you would want to see on the team?
Actually, madaming options in point guard eh. Diba alam mo naman sa Pilipinas, we have a ton of point guards. It's actually, I don't understand why we don't deploy those point guards, diba? I mean, we have point guards who are good in the PBA. We have point guards who are good internationally. Diba? We have Turley, we have Kiefer, we have SJ Belangel. I mean, we have Robert Bolick. Maybe some of those players don't fit with when Kai Soto is not here, is there, but I think we really need ball creation. We really need a shot creator, diba? So maybe players like Belangel, players like Juan Gomez Del Llamo, or even si Robert Bolick could be considered for succeeding windows. But then again, we still have that problem when it comes to our defense, diba? So what if we put Robert Bolick, and Robert Bolick's not known to be a good defensive player, and we struggle with the drop coverage? Maybe it's one of the reasons why si Coach Tim is also reluctant to put some of the players in. But maybe si RJ Barrientos is the easiest person that you can name since he plays in Ginebra. He knows the system. Coach Tim has been coaching him, I think, for the past 6 months. He has outside shooting. We know that he can score in the international game. He's proven, di ba, as an MVP contender and a Rookie of the Year sa KBL. So, he's probably the easiest pick. Hopefully, they consider him in the following windows.
Gab.
Maraming options, Sam. Again, we've been on and on. We sound like a broken record na sinasabi natin na kailangan i-expand yung pool. As Maui said, ang dami point guard Pilipinas. We're a country rich with guards, diba? We have so many ball creators. We have so many shot creators, diba? I have no idea why this team is deprived of it, but we have so many shot creators. Actually, we were mentioning KQ and Carl. KQ and Carl can actually create their own shots. I think if given the opportunity, they could show that they could. Now there would be some growing pains, of course. They're younger players, but you saw earlier how desperately we needed just someone else to create their own shot. Justin Brownlee, sabi nga ni Maui, ginagawa na lahat niya sa offense. He was also being targeted on defense. That was also one of the strategies employed by Chinese Taipei. Justin Brownlee's man was being screened off ball and being given off corner threes or screens off ball screens. You know, they were trying really hard to make Justin Brownlee tired, and he's carrying such a heavy load. They need someone else to carry the offensive load, especially on shot creation. I've mentioned already our lack of bigs. Buti na lang hindi na foul trouble si June March, AJ Edo, or else we'll have to go with Japeth. I think from the past few qualifying tournaments and windows, we know how slow Japeth is already, how much age has caught up to Japeth Aguilar. So, buti lang it didn't amount to that. I was actually shocked si Malonzo was not used more. Because yung isa pa yung nakita ko sa game na to, we looked old. We legit looked old and slow against this Chinese Taipei team. We were getting beat to loose balls, offensive rebounds. Nearly every single one of our closeouts was late.
First few plays pa lang, kinoment mo na yun, Gabi.
Oh, di ba? How many offensive rebounds did the Chinese Taipei have in that first quarter? They were just getting first to the ball. And it even popped up in the fourth quarter. They had, 2 or 3 key offensive rebounds.
The guards were out-rebounding us.
Yeah. And it was not just, they were taller. They were obviously not taller. They were smaller than us. But they wanted the ball more. They were faster. Mas maliksi. Obviously, younger legs. I do think we need to get more younger people and more athletic, younger, yung fresher legs into our pool. Obvious kanina na everything was late. Our defense was just horrible. Chinese Taipei just took advantage of all the late closeouts, all of the open space they got yung on the perimeter. In international basketball, you can't win allowing that many open outside shots. It's not a recipe yung for success. You can win by pounding the paint, 'di ba? Pero we don't have our best big man in Kai Soto, so we have to do something else. We have to shake up the way we play. Now, I'm not saying drop coverage does not work. It works. But you need to have a very good rim protector. Junmar is not a rim protector. I mean, if you saw the game earlier, nahalata ang age ni Junmar Fajardo. He looked really slow. I mean, wala eh. And even when he got it in the paint, he struggled to score. Again, yung sabi nga ni Maui, matanda na si Junmar. Ang dami ng injuries din ni Junmar. So,
malaki na mileage. Di ba, kotse nga, pag mahaba na mileage, di ba?
Si LeBron nga, 'di ba? Kay wala namang invincible di ba? So, alam naman natin PBA GOAT si Junmar dun sa mga nagko-comment or nagagalit when we criticize Junmar. Pero matanda lang na din kasi si Junmar. We love Junmar. Yeah.
He's an excellent player.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Maui.
Yeah, tsaka ako, I really think yung best for Junmar right now is yung short spurts, di ba? So, para pwede talaga siyang tumodas in those short spurts. I think even during the time of Coach Chot Reyes, when Junmar was in his prime, that's when he really excelled, di ba? 5 minutes out. Hindi yung, not when Junmar's playing 30 minutes a game. I think one of the things that we should note also in this game is, despite us playing most of our players, I think 10 out of the 13 players played, we had 3 players who played 37 plus minutes. Diba? That would be Brownlee, Thompson, and Ramos. Diba? So I think that's also one of the reasons why we looked old, we looked tired. Diba? I mean, they just played in Doha. I don't know. My expectation really was for this game, actually, was for Kiambao and Tamayo to get more minutes. And I was actually surprised that Amos was left off the pool. Diba? Kasi when Coach Tim talked about this window, he was saying that it would be preparation for Asia Cup, but we don't expect to really compete as maybe as good as we did before. 'Di ba? It's concerning lang. Kasayang kasi ang hirap. Tama kayo frustrating kasi ang hirap, 'di ba? I mean, we just came off that window where we beat New Zealand. Everyone was so high on Gilas. Kai Soto was dominant. And we expected him to dominate Asia, and now we lose Kai Soto for a year. I don't know how
Sakit.
I think this is a true test for Coach Tim's coaching staff for this iteration of Gilas.
Good point.
How can we move past this? How can we recover before it gets to the Asia Cup? Diba? Kasi that's where it really matters, diba? That's how you get to the World Cup. That's how you get to the next step. Diba? But I don't think playing 3 players 38 minutes is the right way. 'Di ba? That means talagang kailangan na sila ay nasa loob at all times. We didn't have that allowance to play other players for experience or to try different lineups. We had to go all in on these 3 guys.
Speaking of adjustments, Gab, knowing na how we performed in the last few games, ano yung mga short-term adjustments that you would do for the New Zealand game?
The primary is, and the most glaring for me, is the pick and roll coverage. It has been ongoing now for 5 or 6 straight games, even dating back to the window here in the Philippines where they played New Zealand. We get killed every time there's a pick and roll. I don't know what coverage we're doing. Sometimes we go under. Sometimes the guards fight through the screen. What are we doing? Sometimes we switch. What? Ano yung plan? Because it's the most common play now in basketball. It's the most effective, overused, but it's still one of the most efficient plays in basketball. And obviously, just watch our 3 losses. That is the recipe for success against Gilas. Pick and roll, over and over. Pick and roll, you dribble handoff. Just look at you even when we won against Qatar, it was just pick and roll over and over. Involve the big. You're putting two bigs there. We're involving them in every screen and roll action. So primary para sa akin, short-term adjustments, Sam, you were talking about, fix the pick and roll coverage. Figure out what we're trying to do with those actions. It's obvious that gulong-gulo pa yung players kung anong gagawin eh. It was obvious to me that sometimes they were really baffled at what they were doing to combat the pick and roll. They did not know if we were staying in drop coverage, were we switching now, were we fighting all over over the screen, were we dropping behind the screen? What really are we running? And I hope we don't go to drop behind the screen because obviously it did not work a while ago. Ton of open threes for Chinese Taipei. So we have to do something about that. I don't think we'll be getting any more players in the near future for this team. So I would go with more. As much as I don't think Coach Tim will go in this direction, but more KQ.
You just play the young guys?
Wag lang the young guys, but KQ can create his own shot. We were seeing it in the Doha tournament that he was running Coach Tim Kun was running some offense through KQ in the post. He's someone who can create his own shot. So maybe just to give Justin Brownlee some rest, some time to just be a shooter in the corner, not to create every single time.
That's a good point. Yeah. Pahinga din ni JB yun.
Yung pahinga din ni JB. If RJ is there, maybe give RJ a bit of a look. I mean, if you're not using Malonzo,
might
RJ
as well.
Ginebra too. You might as well give RJ a look. The fact that you had to play Scottie Thompson 37 plus minutes in this game shows your need for another guard. And he plays for Ginebra. He knows your system. So maybe give RJ a look. He can also create. He can also shoot. Something we desperately need right now, as you see. So those are two short-term adjustments. I don't think there's any drastic need to change up the entire system and all that. I'm not panicking that way. But we have to fix those two things. Ball creation and pick and roll coverage. Yun talaga sa akin, these past 3 losses, those have been very glaring. Maui, anything to fix in the short term?
I'd probably play AJ Edu a ton more minutes than maybe Junmar. Especially in teams that have shooting big men. Diba? We know that New Zealand is coming up, and remember when we faced New Zealand, remember Vodanovic from New Zealand, he killed us from the outside. Diba? Imagine having a pick and roll when Vodanovic is the one setting the pick and both players are shooters. Webster and Vodanovic. Diba? You can't really sag off from anyone. I would play AJ Edu more just because I want to see more minutes from him. I want to see him get into the system more. I think he's sort of starting to get the system. Diba? I mean, we have no choice right now. Diba? We can't play Japet more. Junmar is not playable 30 plus minutes, I would say. I don't think we want to see Junmar 30 plus minutes a game. Kawawa naman si Junmar. Diba? We've been playing Junmar a ton for what? 1.5 decades already. I want to see more AJ Edu. I want to see more Carl Tamayo. I want to see more Kevin Kiambao. We have to see a different strategy. We know what Dwight Ramos can do. We know what Scottie Thompson can do. Even sila Newsome, Perez, they've been mainstays of Gilas. I want to see Carl Tamayo and Kevin Kiambao get into a rhythm. Diba? I think they need the confidence. Diba? We've seen how Carl Tamayo has been playing the past few days or past week for Gilas. He needs the confidence. And we need that come FIBA Asia Cup. Diba? It's an unbearing game anyway. Diba? We lost against Chinese Taipei when we still tried to win the game. Diba? I think si Coach Tim, props to Coach Tim, he didn't just want to give the game to Chinese Taipei, but I think for the long term, we have to have other options. Diba? We cannot rely on Justin Brownlee to score 35 to 40 points in any window of FIBA. More so in the FIBA Asia Cup when more games are played consecutively. Diba? Unlike windows na two at a time lang. I don't think Brownlee can shoulder that load at his age. Diba? But
Matanda
we need
na
to
rin
find
siya.
we need to find other options. Basically, same as what Gab mentioned. Look at RJ Barrientos, try to get maybe some more people in the pool and see how they fit, how they look. I think di naman when you get somebody in the pool naman, it doesn't mean naman that you're gonna play them, di ba? You can look at them and how they fit the system. Di ba? Maybe players like Kiefer Ravena can play, di ba? I think nung World Cup, he showed that he can handle the ball better than even Scottie Thompson did. But I would look at other shooters. Maybe even si Jordan Heading, who's been performing great sa PBA, playing as a point guard. Diba? So, outside shooting we really need outside shooting in this lineup. Diba? When we don't have Kai Soto and everyone is just gonna basically double Justin Brownlee and deny Junmar in the post, we need shooters to space the floor. Diba? To make it harder for the opposing team's defense. Jordan Heading should be considered, I think. RJ Barrientos, medyo pwede si Matthew Wright, maybe, di ba? Still, kahit matanda na si Matthew Wright, is still may asim pa naman in the B League, di ba? Maybe si Bobby Ray Parks. Bobby Ray Parks has also been performing pretty well in the B League. We've seen him do well in some windows also in FIBA. We just need some people to create and shooters basically, and players who know how to play defense. Diba? I think that may be one of the main reasons why si Bolick and Arvin Tolentino are not priorities for the pool despite the clamor of a lot of people. Nakakatakot without Kai Soto. Diba? Grabe. Kumbaga yung before, we had a natural high na with Kai Soto.
Oo, on a high
We've
na
been
tayo.
waiting for that. Diba? I'm sorry for medyo sayang kasi si AJ Edu na naman, 'di ba? Is the one that is sort of performing but we're not winning. I think this is the same thing that happened in World Cup kaya hindi sa sobrang nabibigyan ng spotlight, but I think AJ Edu is also a big part of our future, 'di ba? I think he's the only playable big with how we tend to play defense and how teams tend to play in the international game. Diba? We need bigs who know who can play drop coverage, who can also switch in a pick and roll, diba? I think that's one of the main reasons naman why we continue to play drop coverage, diba? Kasi we lack big men who can switch naturally. And si AJ Edo gives us that dimension. Yeah.
Okay, Gab. Last words before we go. We will have another game this Sunday against New Zealand. Last words.
It's just a sad past 3 games for Gilas. 2 straight blowouts in Doha against teams that honestly we should have beaten. I mean, that Lebanon team didn't have their main guns. Egypt, we should be beating Egypt, to be honest. And Chinese Taipei, I still think we should be beating Chinese Taipei. I think we're a more talented team than Chinese Taipei. We just have to fix the little things. I mean, we're not saying yung revamp the program naman. I mean, Coach Tim still has this on lock. His triangle offense, his system is still humming for the most part. We're still in close games. We still beat New Zealand in the past window. So there's still some positives, but we do have some minor things to fix. And I hope when we get to Sunday against New Zealand, we'll see those fixes, or we see some improvement from Gilas. I mean, hindi naman namin sinasabi na tanggalin na si Coach Tim yung i-revamp.
Hindi, believe naman tayo kay Coach Tim. Fans tayo.
Grabe.
Hindi, tsaka at the end of the day, we qualified naman sa FIBA Asia Cup, which is what we need. Diba? We're just trying to see maybe we can improve coming into that.
Yeah.
Yep. So improvements
Syempre
lang,
may mga
small
injuries
improvements.
lang din. So, because of the injuries, we have to make adjustments. So, yun nga, as Gab mentioned, we do have another game Sunday against New Zealand. If I remember correctly, just like Chinese Taipei na mention nyo, they revamped the team. I think itong New Zealand team will go all out. They had a few missing players nung last window against us. So it would be interesting to see a full force New Zealand team this Sunday, 10
Babawi yan.
a.m.
Home
Babawi
sila
yan,
eh.
syempre. Oo, syempre gusto nila bumawi. So, we'll talk about that game after Sunday. Stay tuned. Share, let us know your thoughts. Share them down below. Comment, share with your friends. Like this video. It helps us a lot. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Meron pa kaming onting Boleros caps. If you're interested, just send us a message. We'll share the link, Gab. That's it. We'll talk about it again on Sunday. Bye-bye.